Well, hello. And it's Virtual Collage Party. No, Jam. Virtual Collage Jam. It's Virtual Collage Jam time again, everybody. And it's been so long that Kal can't even remember what it's called. Perfect. Oh, so we're back in beautiful downtown Brampton. Not quite downtown, but close. And it is springtime. It is officially spring as of 5:37 on Saturday. And it's sunny. It's warm. What the heck am I doing in here? Well, I am being in here because I want to be with you guys.
That's
collaging
right.
up a storm.
That's right.
A metaphorical storm, not an actual storm, because it's too beautiful outside.
Sure is.
So glad to be back and looking forward to hanging out with you guys and collaging on the topic of vernal equinox. In other words, spring equinox, the time when, more or less anyway, it is 12 hours nighttime and 12 hours daytime. And now we're heading into more daytime. Woohoo! Yay! More than night, which is great.
Oh, isn't it a relief?
It is. It is
Oh
a
my
relief.
God.
I mean, the solstice, once it starts getting lighter again, is a huge relief. We both noticed that getting older, we've been more aware of that. My father used to always make a big deal of it as a teenager, right? So I was like, what
What are you going on?
Yeah, what's all that about, right? So so now I get it. Hello, Rebecca, how are you? Welcome back. And Jane, hey. Now, I'm not organized for this prompt either. I printed out a couple of things and I have a couple of half-baked ideas, but we figure it out as we go along, right? That's art.
That's pretty much how we do everything, right?
Yeah, that's sad but true, or fun but true, or both.
I'm just doing an Instagram story.
A little more caffeine never hurt. Hello, Val. Hey, Cherie. Welcome back, you guys. So glad to have you back and in the collage. Collage house.
Yeah. Hi, Judy. Thank you. I am doing better.
Yes.
The
nosebleeds have abated.
Repeated bleeding is
Yeah,
that's a relief.
We had to go and buy her some iron supplements because she had really exhausted herself, and it's something that her dad has as well, and so she's sort of used to it in an unfortunate way, but it goes away for like 3/4 of a year or a year and a half or whatever, and then she has a spate of them, and she had a bad spate of them. So, and they coincided with two events, like two online live events. Like it happened in the middle of a first time it happened was in the middle of a critique that she was doing for Markham Group of Artists. I don't know if any of you guys were there, and so she had to I can't do this, and I
thank goodness Kal was there.
We were working together. Fortunately, she was the lead bomber, but I was there sort of offering color commentary, and suddenly I was like, okay, I'll take the crit from here. Well, she goes and
oh man.
and then it happened again on her. That's why we're delayed. So so welcome aboard. This is our last Virtual Collage Jam for the winter term, but we are back again for the Collage Jam. We have quite a we have a good term lined up. And the reason I just did a little pause there was I saw a little notice that my internet connection was unstable. Perfect.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to put Wi-Fi on as well as a backup because I'm cabled, but I want to have
we don't want anything to go
awry.
No,
Exactly. And so...
But in the event, God forbid, that Kal drops out.
Yeah, if we actually lose it, and I will start a new stream. And so if you lose me and I don't come back in like a minute or two, it means that I will start another stream.
So
and
go to his
go back to my channel
again
and look for a new stream. And it might take me a few minutes to get it up and running. Hopefully, though.
Yeah.
Now that I've said all of that, it will be the metaphorical umbrella, and we won't need it, right? So yeah,
equipped with our umbrella.
So Kim is gonna. I see there are all kinds of comments there, and Kim is gonna get me up to speed with those. I got
that Instagram story up.
I'm just gonna push this back, and you see, I've got some lovely spring flowers, some tulips. And I might, I took some pictures of these ahead of time, thinking I'd collage with them, and then I ran out of time to get them printed. So I may just do some visual looking at them and do some, but I also printed a couple of images of Earth, some stars, some 12s for you can't see those, some 12s for the hours of night and day. And really, that's as far as I've got. So I'm just going to start.
Well, let me catch you up on the chat.
Yeah.
So Kay says hi. She's going to work on her homework.
Excellent.
Nice to see you, Kay.
Yeah, welcome back.
Hi, Annie. Good to see you here. Yay. And Marion is here, having just got back from an amazing walk.
Oh, excellent. Yes. And welcome back, Marion. I know you've been here oftentimes, but not the last couple of times, I don't think. So welcome back.
Yeah, nice it's great to have you here.
Yeah.
And thank you, Judy. Yes, it's a relief.
Yes, it is a relief for all concerned in the family, because it is alarming seeing your loved one bleeding endlessly, and she has a big sort of tongue depressor clothes peg like thing that she uses to clamp her nose, that an emergency doctor fashioned for her. And so she's either walking around with this huge beak to try and keep it, and she says, and that just means it's not bleeding out my nose, it's going back down my throat. So perfect. Yeah. So
but let's not gross everybody out too much. Yeah. That's my top tip for the day. Don't gross people out.
It's a good tip. And let's just leave it at that. And,
we will
move right on.
Okay.
What else are people saying, Kim? Too late to close that barn door, right? Yeah, exactly.
Right. You galloped out of it. Marie is here.
Hey, Marie.
Great to see you. Yeah. She said she has some office stuff to do, so she's listening and watching on her television.
Oh, cool.
That's great.
So
you won't be chatting so much.
Absolutely.
But that's great.
You can listen in if obviously you can collage, but if you've got other stuff to do but just want to hang out. Exactly.
Kay says she's been through nosebleeds, pardon me, and it's awful because you never know when they'll hit. Yes, exactly. Extremely inopportune moments.
Yeah, Kim thought her nose was running, so she just dapped at him like, ah!
And Ann Lakoff's here.
Hey, Ann.
She says, hi, Kim and Kal. You couldn't have a better day to think about the Vernal Equinox.
Yes. No, it's the last few days have just been stunning. Yes. Stunning is
we even went for a walk yesterday.
Yeah, we went out for a little walk. A little further afield, we met a friend distanced at a dog walking park, which was an experience in and of itself, because we're not
free dog parks.
We're not dog owners, so that's a phenomenon we're not familiar with. So
yeah. She says, let's throw open those windows and get down to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Some fresh air and some fresh collage, right?
Yeah.
Fresh air, fresh flowers. Fresh collage.
Yep.
Yep.
And Sharon's here saying
Sharon.
hello.
Yay.
Hi, Sharon. So glad you could make it today.
Yes. Yay. That is so good.
Yeah. Well, that looks fresh and green,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna make some kind of a thing looking at both the sort of planetary aspect of some and the hours, and maybe something with the flowers.
Awesome.
That's the plan. That's the plan as far as it is anyway, which isn't very far. And I figure
that has the raw ingredients of a plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fine. That's your starting point.
That's all I need. It's a planette.
Mm.
Yeah.
But bum.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna have to get a little drum and learn how to do that properly on the drum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sharon says she's glad to be here.
Yay. So, what have people been doing outside? I bet a bunch of you guys have been outside.
Because, the temperature was 17 or something crazy, wasn't it?
I think it was like 20 degrees in the sun or when.
Yeah,
but
that's where you're going to go, right?
Stellar, right? So.
Yeah.
We haven't really taken
advantage of it. I know there are some gardeners
yet.
here.
Yeah, for sure. And gardening is a great place to get it going.
Yeah. Someone we know has, we met through teaching, has terminal cancer, but she's undergoing an experimental treatment right now. That means that she's strong right now for spring.
Oh, wow.
So she's actually out in the gardening, and
wow,
it takes on an extraordinary different meaning when you kind of know it's your last spring, right? So she is drinking it in. It's an excellent reminder of how precious it all is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Marion says, so happy to be back. These collaging sessions have inspired me and given me ideas for card making. I've been invited to join 2 street walks in our neighborhood in the summer.
Oh, excellent. And that's a perfect thing, right? Because those kinds of walks, people may not be looking to buy like a big painting or whatever, but lots of people are happy to spend a few dollars to support artists, especially in that context, right?
And so,
so if you have something lovely that is a bite size, that's great. So yeah, perfect plan.
Cherie says this week is the first for leaf pickup, so she was raking.
Oh, yes. I should check to see whether it is for us, too, because
we got a lot of stuff.
Well, there's that as well. But we also, I had some bags that I had bagged up, and they're actually been biodegrading on my driveway, waiting for the pickup to resume. So,
we may need to rebag them.
No, they're definitely going to need to be rebagged and recorralled. But at least if they're starting again, I can do that. So, yeah.
Anne says she just got back from a ravine walk and says
lovely.
We're definitely still in the beige season.
Yes, definitely.
But the crocuses and snowdrops are up.
Yeah, I am a very brown thumb person. I can cut things down. Which I need to because we have a lot of trees on our.
We have about a decade of pruning to do.
And I can do the occasional bit of hardscape, but other than that, I'm pretty pathetic. But one thing that we did do that I'm happy about is the first year or sooner. No, first year or the second year. In our house, we planted some crocuses in the front lawn, and that's something my parents did, so it has significance to me. Mm-hmm. And basically 9.5 months of the year, they're just in among the grass, and you don't see them. They go away. But in spring, they're the first thing up, and they're in our sort of still taupe lawn, and it's really affirming.
It is.
So yeah.
Kal goes eagerly hunting for them on the first nice spring-like day.
Yeah.
Which is lovely. Annie said, I was told not to clean my garden yet as there might be insects or butterflies still dormant under there.
Right.
Well, believe me, we're nothing but habitat here. Everything gets habitat in our yard. Some people have to work at it, and we're very there's a Chinese idea called wu wei, which is action in non-action. That's us. There we go.
Yeah.
Our garden.
Yep.
Uh,
in action are us. Yeah.
Rebecca says, quite a few butterflies do hibernate under leaf litter. Well, that's great to know.
Yeah.
Kay says she had a gorgeous sunrise walk by the lake yesterday.
Wow.
Oh, I so admire you for being able to be up at that hour, because it is magic, right?
Yeah.
To be able to do that. What you get to see.
Just before daylight savings, I was actually I felt like my clock was starting to wake up sort of relatively near sunrise. And I was actually feeling like, okay, so, which is great. I am a morning person who struggles to
spent decades living like a night person.
Yeah, because as a designer is always like, oh, do you want to risk getting up early to try and finish it, or do you want to just have it finished so you can sleep?
Yeah.
And that was always the preferred thing.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
But it wasn't
good.
Didn't suit me. No. I notice I am like 10 times more effective first thing in the morning than I am last thing at night.
Exactly.
But anyway, and then the time change, and so now
we're all messed up.
Now I'm totally messed up. I'm waking up before and then before dawn, and then when the alarm goes, I feel like I should head over the head with the shovel. But hey, I'm sure
it'll pass.
It will pass. It will
eventually.
Pass. Yeah.
Rebecca says it's best not to rake or to cut back stems of last year's plants until mid-April. I should just mention that Rebecca has some expertise in this, so just for those of you who don't know her. So get your gardening questions answered too. No, I don't want to put that on Rebecca. She's trying to have some fun, but just so you know. Joy. Hey, Joy.
Hey, Joy. Welcome. Speaking of sunshine and coast.
We were just talking about the West Coast before.
And we were, and was it who had the morning walk?
Kay did.
Right. I thought it was Kay, but I just didn't want to say it. So yes. And the sunrise walk here, and if Joy has sunrise walk, that's got to be pretty great on the Pacific there. So
I would think so. Well, she says it's great to see tulips. Just hung up the laundry outside. Had to get back into Google. Daffs are up out here.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
because of course you have spring earlier.
Yes, that's right.
When do your crocuses come out, Joy? Or equivalent, snowdrops, whatever. The earliest flowers. Love to know. Rebecca says, crocuses and snowdrops, etc. always get me happy each spring.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. They're like the birds know it's spring before we're getting any visual signs. So we get the wonderful bird song, which I actually posted several posts ago on Instagram. I just pointed at general shrubbery and trees in our yard and recorded the sounds of.
Yeah, I was heading out somewhere, I think grocery shopping, and I just opened the door, and our maple tree had been full of starlings, and starlings have this amazing vocabulary. And they were all going nuts. And then there were cardinals beyond them. And I think a mourning dove, too.
And I think there was a blackbird.
Right.
Blackbird.
So
it was cacophony.
I opened the door and I said, Kim, come here. You have to listen to this. And it was it was balm for the soul.
That was before our crocuses.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah.
Cherie says, I was raking the fir tree litter. Oh, I bet there's plenty of that. 1 million little pine cones. Too much acidity for the garden. Yeah, no kidding. We were noticing that on someone's yard during a walk recently. Just like the tree had just let loose.
Right.
Joy says pine cones can be collected and are great for starting a barbecue.
Yes, they're great fire starters. Yeah. My girl guide.
Kim, I've been known to save a few.
Yes.
Yeah, I may have a few collections of things. Pine cones among them. Cherie writes, while I bless the person who planted my sugar maple in my backyard, I quietly cursed the person who planted a fir tree 6 feet from my back door. 6 feet.
Wow.
Oh, man. That's like the original owners of our house planted a crabapple tree. Right, like, I guess when it was a sapling, it would have been about 6 inches from the fence. But now that it's a 50-year-old tree, 60-year-old tree, 70-year-old tree, it's right against the fence, which is insane. And also quite close to the house.
How do you feel about that, Kim?
I can't really make up my mind. I'm kind of betwixt and between on that one.
Yeah, that's my Kim. Always wishy-washy with it. Maybe not. I don't know. Depends on the day, but easy come, easy go.
Yeah, just one of my characteristics.
Yeah. And so, collagers out there, if you're collaging, or if you're not, if you're making some other form of art, what are your thoughts? What are you playing with? What are your ingredients? What are you thinking?
Good. You've planted that seed, so I will read some of the. Well, I don't know that it wasn't intended. It was seasonally appropriate, thematically appropriate.
Yep.
Rebecca writes, I can try. I've learned lots working at Toronto Botanical Garden, but my expertise is actually more with the wildlife and with veggie gardens than other plants. Smile. Yeah.
She has excellent taste.
Joy writes, mine are out now. I'll send you a pic. And her forsythia is opening up right now. Wow. Yeah, we won't get that for a while yet. Although they're predicting a warm spring, so it may arrive a little early. Love to see that, Joy. So please do send. Yeah. Donna's here.
Hey,
Hello,
Donna.
Welcome. Late.
Welcome back. Yeah.
Glad you could make it.
Yes. Yay. I hope you're a little late, Donna, because you were outside. We were talking before you arrived about how great it is to be outside these days.
And Stacy is here. She says, hey, hi,
Stacey.
everyone.
Yay. Wow.
Glad Stacey, you could make it.
You're actually finding time for both a class and a little collage jamming. That's great with 3 boys,
Oh boy, yeah.
And
wow.
you had a grant deadline not very long ago.
Jeez.
So she's been a busy.
Well done, you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll just put this out there for as Rebecca clarified, she may or may not know answers to this, but someone else might. Cherie asks, any tips about fighting the Boxwood moth? I lost 1 Boxwood last year and I'm nervous about the remaining 3. So if anyone knows about the Boxwood pests. So progress is being made.
Well, things are getting glued down. I'm not sure. I wouldn't go so far as to call it progress yet.
Well, I consider that progress.
But
foundational progress.
I am trying to be just in the moment and not overly planny/analytical. Famous last words.
Cherie says, I have been sourcing public domain sites to garner images legally. Public domain images are awesome to work with. Just so you know, there is case law around using other people's imagery for collage, mixed media. It's a question of finding what you can sleep with, I think, and also as a fellow artist, right? And also it has to be clear that you've made visibly a new artwork from it, so that it's not. Now there in the United States, famously, there have been some cases where that definition has been stretched to its absolute limits or beyond, depending on your point of view, right? But famously by Richard Prince. I'm always looking for the transformational aspects of working with other people's imagery.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well,
Cal?
and we in fact, Kim and I do this for each other. More her for me, because I do more collage, but
I do it digitally.
Yeah. Well, and you sort of, you have a clearer sense, I think. So I will say, so what do you think of this? And do you think this is far enough away? And she'll say, no, I don't think so. I think you need to make it more your own for this reason. You know, you're riding too much on this one image. I'd interfere with it more. Or no, I don't see a problem with it. And so we both bounce that back and forth.
It's always handy to have another pair of informed eyes, not just anybody, but someone who, well, I mean, anybody can at least give you some kind of feedback, but it's most beneficial, I think, if another artist or another art student or whatever is taking a look at it with you, so you can talk about it.
I think the more comfortably you can say or state, you know, I've made this my own and it's not riding on the original image maker's work.
Yeah.
The better off you are. Like if you've taken a picture of flowers from the internet and just like pasted it down and put a couple of things behind it.
It depends, right?
Yeah.
Because there is minimalist work that the way they do it has so much power.
Context changing. Exactly.
It completely changes the meaning, well,
whatever. What I was meaning is if it's still riding very strongly on that, the original image's intention and artistic vision, then right. But if you've changed it so that it's like, wow, I never would have even I seen it now, but it's like, you've made that a completely different context. I respond differently to that. Mm-hmm. I look at it, I feel and think differently than I look at the original. Then that's an excellent
or the
sign.
Source material. Yeah. No, and I know that's something that I've helped some students with who are terrific artists, but occasionally, they'll be working with something and they love that source material so much that they're too precious about it, and I've encouraged them to interfere more.
Yeah, that's a trap that I've come into as well, because I, as a former art director, you'd hire illustrators or photographers to make great stuff, and then you would try and create a context that honored it, right?
Yeah.
And so now I'm the author, and if I'm going to be taking from other sources, I need to put enough of my own spin on it, which is sort of the opposite of what you want to do with art direction. When you it's like if an illustrator hands you something and you've like changed its colors and cropped it so that the face she labored to render perfectly, and you thought, well, actually her skirt was much more interesting and I just thought I'd crop out the head, and so she'd be like, what did you hire me for? Like,
there could be a problem there.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas artistically, that's exactly what you want to be doing.
Exactly. Well, we're still not getting a lot of responses to. There's another one.
What people are
to your question. Cherie said that about public domain images. Sharon has added green golds and the sky at sunset when I love to walk. Mostly is where I'm going today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Green golds.
Yes.
Yum.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Now it's closer to green than gold, but it definitely has that that slant.
Rebecca addresses the boxwood moth. Boxwood moth is still really new here, so not a lot of treatments yet. There is a natural pesticide available, but I don't know about its efficacy or safety. CFIA is asking people to report sightings. Well then, I'm sure Cherie will be right on that. having lost a whole boxwood to the pest. Yeah. Sharon says, I have the same issue with boxwoods, just been keeping them as healthy as possible, fertilize and clean fallen leaves underneath. Wish I had a better idea, but I've been struggling too with them. Rebecca says, I would try manual removal first. Right. Actually removing the pests. Yeah. Like plucking potato beetles. I remember doing that with your parents. They were quite decorative looking too, those potato beetles, but clearly not great if you're trying to grow them. And Sharon thinks that's gross. Sharon, you're not much of a one for the bugs, eh? Even with gardening gloves on.
My father was always the kind who'd just be like, pick them up, squish them between, watching
Look
it.
At
like,
it.
yeah, like.
Yeah. Well,
I understand the need and how that's definitely better than pesticides, but they're like, I'd be like, flick them off and stomp on them rather than
put them in a pail of something.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But
your dad took a pleasure in grossing people out.
Yeah.
Though,
yes, he did.
Yeah.
It's one of his many one of his.
Cherie writes, totally. The caterpillars won last year. That's right. And that's no good. And I think after your description of what your dad did, Sharon said, no.
Yeah. And I'm with you on that part, Sharon, for sure.
Sharon says, I will use rakes on a big shrub to knock insects down, then step on them or put them in soapy water. Yeah, that's the soapy water is what I was thinking of with the bucket.
I'm not surprised, but I am surprised at just how much of a font of useful information on the topic you are, Rebecca.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
It's very in keeping, like
it is,
but it still is remarkable. So,
yeah. Outside my area of expertise. I was encouraged recently, though, when I was, which is good because I've been feeling particularly brain challenged lately. But this article I was reading said that people who are jacks of all trades can actually be less subject or slower to develop dementia.
Oh, well, that's
and I am a jack
bodes
of all
very
trades,
well for you, for sure.
And I have jack of all trades in my family, or Jill of all trades, whatever. I don't care much. Either way, you can call me Jack. Yeah. So I just wish it. Well, I guess I would have less brain function if I weren't. So I can comfort myself with that. Rebecca says, I don't know what works specifically for boxwood moths, but that does work for gypsy moths, which are similar. Well, you see, you know enough to know that, Rebecca. So that's
exactly.
Awesome. Yeah. I've been having a lot of fun photographing these tulips. And in fact, some of you may have seen the digital artwork I made from a photo of them when they were still pretty tightly budded. It was a nice surprise, Kal bringing them home.
Well, we had birthdays and anniversaries not very long ago. Not super recent, but and I bought flowers for our anniversary, and then I bought flowers for our birthdays. And I thought, for the price, why do we not have flowers more frequently? Yeah. Right? It's just ridiculous, right? It's the amount of joy per dollar is so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I can see my mother smiling from above because she always had fresh flowers. either from her garden or she would buy them or.
Yeah. She had flowers and she'd have them in multiple places in the
Oh
house.
yeah, no, she was like
She'd
a
make
flower curator.
Little posies in the bedrooms, and the bathroom. Yeah. That was one of her great joys, I think. Jane's here. Hey, Jane.
Yeah, Jane has been here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I
all
missed
right.
that earlier.
No, because
It's because I didn't read it. You read it.
Yeah, I said hi to a few people just at the outset. So don't take it amiss, Jane.
Jane says, well, we have to have Kal's sign, shut up brain, hanging in our house. Every once in a while, I just go stare at it.
Yes, you and me both.
Yeah, that's good. Rebecca says, some people call us, jacks of all trades, multi-potentialites. There is even a group on a website called Putty Like. Yes, I've seen that term. And there was there's another term as well, but someone was organizing a conference for said polymaths. That was another term for multi-potentialites. And I think they were organizing it when COVID hit. I think it was supposed to happen when COVID hit. Yeah. And it was in Oregon, so I was not going. But much as I would like to, I think it was going to be in Portland, which is such a lovely city. Love to go back there. Yeah, it's nice to know that there are plenty of people out there like that. That's a really neat shape. What did you base that on? I missed.
I was.
It's sort
of a winged thing, but it's actually come out really nicely so far. If I do say so myself, that's what I'm trying to say.
Right. But I know you're cutting and chewing gum at the same time.
You know me. It's difficult, those things.
Should I share what sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. You can share in a minute.
Yeah.
Something I've say in my classes a lot is that collage is really good for teaching you to be economical. Because you can drive yourself crazy having a million pieces, but if the idea is okay, so you have to cut it, right? So, if I have to cut it, I'm going to have to simplify that, right? So that's a really great way to force you to be a little more to edit, basically. And so where am I going with that? I was looking at my flowers here, our flowers, and so I didn't draw anything, but I sort of thought, okay, I'm going to do 3 flowers. And so I made 3 stems and let's see if I can
make sure it's in front of your black vest.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. Yeah.
Good.
And then some leaf shapes, which I just sort of winged. And then what I've been doing is holding it over top of this darker green shape and then just cutting some shadows where I want them to be. And so I'll show you that in a minute once I've got some pieces cut down. But it is that, right? It's like one piece of green and then a few darker green chunks, and that's going to be it, right? And that is the hope that it will work out nice and sort of edited.
Cool.
Yeah. But you had something.
Oh, but it wasn't related to collage, so I'm glad
but do share.
I'm sure everybody was curious what you were up to and why you were doing what you were doing.
I am always curious why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because what I'm doing is often curious.
Yes, I can attest to that.
Don't be quite so quick to agree.
We're both a little odd. Where would be the fun if we weren't?
Exactly.
Joy says, love those green colors, inspiring spring growth. And Sharon says, I'm curious, why do you use those cutting knives over the X-Acto pins?
That's a funny question. It's a good question. It's a funny thing that I use them. Because X-Acto is absolutely like a better tool. Like it's on a cylindrical barrel, which means you can do this to sort of make it swirl. Both of us did a lot of sort of graphic design paste up using these, and the fact that they have the snap off blades, so one blade is basically 10 blades.
X-Acto knives so often end up not being sharp enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you have to change the blade for every single sharp blade.
It's tricky, right? Because you have to hold them carefully and they're relatively expensive because they're good blades, right? But as soon as it's dull at the tip, then it's over, right?
Toast.
And so you have to chuck that, get a new one.
Yeah.
And so the economical part of me loves the 10 blades in one, or however many, 10, 12.
Well, the
9.
sharp blade
and repeatedly sharp. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Like snap it off and you've only wasted that much metal and you've got a new blade, and it's really easy. Like, oh, it's too dull, snap, keep going, right? I mean, there's that.
The other thing, which is big, which you're not practicing, is retracting the blade after every single use. So it becomes a reflex. As soon as you're about to put it down, you retract.
Yeah. And
you just extend it when you pick it up. Yeah. Means way more safety than X-Acto
definitely
knives.
But Kim is right. I do routinely notice that under the papers that I'm rifling through is a knife that's open with the blade open.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But when Kal and I first met, and for some years after, his tool of choice was actually a scalpel, surgical style scalpel.
And I really like scalpels, but it has the same aspect of the X-Acto. You have to change the individual blade. The one thing I really liked about the particular scalpels can come into several different blades, and there was one that actually had the point sort of curved down, so you could be very precise. Like it sort of came down to the point where you were cutting. I don't know what. I have some scalpel blades here. I don't know whether I'll be able to hold it close enough to the camera, but if I can, yeah.
Hold something dark behind it, like that starry sky.
Yeah. Okay.
If you can find what you need. Are those all empty? Is that one?
No, they're fresh blades, and I have very few, so I just wanted to use a. Not sure you'll actually see this. It's pretty subtle now that I look at it.
You can feel it more than see it when you're using it.
Yeah, it's actually going to need to be
on a white background.
Yeah.
There we go.
But let's see if that will show. I think you can see that it bends down a little bit.
Ever so slightly.
Yeah.
And that's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't use those anymore either because, well, they're a lot harder to find. You have to go to like a medical supply. Some of the places I used to work in graphic design would like
They'd buy cases.
Order like a case of 1,000 blades, and and so
we don't.
Yeah.
So. I guess we could have picked some up when we went to get my mom's rollator.
But it does seem like a kind of a crude tool, but I find I can work it, so I stick with it.
I do some pretty intricate stuff with it.
Yeah. People always say, you cut that with that? So I guess we're used to it.
There might be a couple of people here who remember an early virtual studio party where I did a scratchboard drawing, and I was using the Olfa knife for that scratchboard drawing.
Oh, for the actual scratching. Yeah.
And you get better with it. Joy says better odd than even. Remember when I said we were both a bit odd?
Oh, yes.
And Val asks, what's the brand of that knife? That's an Olfa knife.
Yeah, so there are imitators, but I definitely recommend Olfa. It's
they come in different styles using the same blades.
Yeah.
So get the style that suits you. We like the classic yellow, which they've redesigned a little bit.
But they're high quality knives and blades, especially. Like, something I'll do is, if we have some cheaper knives, I'll put Olfa blades in them.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, the knife
Then
isn't
it's
that great,
fine.
but the blade is great, which is the part that matters most.
Cutting tools are so crucial, right? I mean, unless you're tearing for collage, if anything where you're cutting for your mixed media or your collage work, it's so important to have a tool that you can work with well, safely, and with a sharp cutting edge. Because as soon as the cutting edge isn't sharp,
it's more
dangerous. It's more dangerous, and it's upsetting sometimes, like, what ends up being.
Yeah, you'll end up with not cutting properly and
tearing in a very unfortunate way.
And you can end up cutting yourself because you're struggling.
Yeah.
Rather than having it cut beautifully and cleanly.
Yeah. Sharon says, thanks for the answer. Appreciate it. We've gone on and on about it.
We certainly have.
Because our relationship with our knives goes so far back. And when both of us started in graphic design, there was a lot of paste up involved. So your relationship to your knife was very intimate, actually.
Yeah. Like, artists have particular tools that they're very enamored with, right? I have certain brushes I like, but I will pick up a brush and use it, which is anathema to some people. It's like, oh, no, so I have brushes I am somewhat particular about. But
you might be fussier about an airbrush head.
Yes, yeah.
So I think that tells you what is more important.
Yeah, absolutely,
to you.
But knife is definitely something I could talk about and wax poetical for days, which other
demonstrate.
Which other people are like, are you kidding me?
Can you stop talking about knives now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, let's talk brushes. And I'm like, okay, all right, sure, if you must.
You know what it makes me think of? It reminds me of when the late, great Peter Kalisnik was still alive and teaching, and him demonstrating pencil sharpening.
Oh, yeah.
Proper pencil sharpening, for which you need a knife, and looking after pen nibs as well. Yeah. Just the detail and care. Tell he had a long, loving relationship with those tools.
Yeah, and he had a very unique way of sharpening a pencil, which was to basically carve the lead into a chisel
shape. Yeah,
like a tapered chisel. And so you could get a point with it, you could get a fat line with it, you could get a medium line with it.
Yeah,
it was like, I'd never seen that before.
Became so versatile.
Yeah, and suddenly it's not just like sharpened to a point that then gets fatter as you draw with it.
Well, and my grandfather, who was a draftsman, used to sharpen pencils with a knife. Like that was the old school way.
Yeah.
But we grew up at a time where every classroom had a rotary
pencil sharpener. Yeah.
And so we're used to the conical, but conical's the least useful for actual drawing.
It was amazing because you could draw a fine line and then with the same tool do a little shading, soft shading, nice and then come back to the line and then do a little soft shading, which you can't do with it when it's sharpened to a point.
Yeah.
And when it's softened down, you can't do a fine line, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, wow, exactly. That's so cool.
And it also helped maintain the fine line edge to do the shading on the broadside.
Yes.
So that you didn't need to sharpen it as often.
Yeah, that's right.
As with the conical type. Sort of,
one worked in the other's interest.
Yeah.
So that was.
Well, we're just geeking out on tools today. It's so crazy, right?
Yeah, geeking out on tools. That is.
But that's all right.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the theme for today.
Yeah, there we go. We didn't know that when we started out, but
in honor of Vernal Equinox.
But yeah, apparently it's become the thing.
Yeah, it's fun. Sharon says, you helped me realize I'm not changing blade frequently enough. I love the tool talk. Oh, thank you, Sharon. Bless you.
Yeah, bless you.
And yeah, it's a good thing to realize because that blade should just move through your material really, really well.
You sort of, the thing I watch for when I'm cutting is any pull. Like when it cuts through perfectly, it's great. But you'll notice the fibers start pulling with it rather than being cut through.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes me a minute if I'm thinking about other things. It's like, why? Oh, and then the irritation gets to the point of recognition. Like, oh, it's the blade, right? Got to change the blade.
Yeah.
So.
Val says, I got yelled at by Peter for pulling out a sharpener. I bet you did.
Yes, I'm sure you're not alone, Val. Lots of people got yelled at by Peter.
So just know you were in good company.
No, exactly. Lots of people. Peter was a teddy bear with a ferocious side.
Well, and it depends on when you knew him.
Yes.
We knew him in his teddy bear years.
We knew him
latter years.
Post drinking. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So. And I know that he could be quite
harsh.
Harsh is a good word. Yeah.
Rebecca says, especially important on softer leads. Plus, with a knife, you can leave one side thicker to support the lead.
Right, the wood on the one side to sort of keep it from snapping up, right?
Yeah.
Like the high side.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, got it.
Took me a minute to figure out what you were meaning, but yes, absolutely.
Cherie says, if you see a burr, it's time for a change. Well, burr
exactly.
Definitely. Definitely. Oh, just because I'm watching Kal cut, and you see how he's cutting curvy. So one of the things about the Olfa knife, and you need to develop sensitivity to it because you don't want to do something risky where the blade could snap. But if you can play with the length of the exposed blade for the flexibility of the blade. And I do that for all kinds of things. It could be for something curvy like this, like the less that it is exposed, the stiffer the blade is. The more that is exposed, the more flexible the blade is. And that will allow for curves. But also I can use it for trimming when I'm mounting prints to wood panels. Anyone who's taken a class with me in mixed media, at least in person, has probably seen me do this. I expose a lot of knife and it allows me to trim to match perfectly the wood panel. So can't do that with an X-Acto blade. Or more accurately, an X-Acto knife. Sometimes too, some of you I'm sure will have experienced this. You get glue or paint on your blade, and that means you have to change it more frequently. Cherie says, I bought a knife with a rotating head, never got the hang of it. Yeah, that does take getting used to. And I remember buying years ago when I was in graphic design, it had a very small blade.
Yeah.
And it was rotating because I thought, oh, good, something for intricate cuts.
Yeah, it's something that'll and I have managed to use. There was a kind that you put your finger through, and it had a strange handle, but it also allowed you to. The blade swiveled, and you could also rotate it.
And did that one work
and
well?
it gave you a nice curve, but I couldn't get the hang of it either. I just I'd rather just have the stiff tool and move my hand. It's so seductive because you think, oh, that's perfect. I can see how that would work. And then you can't make it work.
I think one of the problems with those like this, you can feel the resistance and you get to know what it's going to do. But those, because they're swiveling around, you actually feel more out of control, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, now what's it doing?
yeah, exactly. Like,
because it's just swiveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cherie says I would lose control of it. That's my recollection too. Yeah, I'm sure there are people who love them.
Oh,
people
for sure.
who can control them really well.
Yeah.
I just never became one of those people. Perhaps because I'd so developed my relationship with this kind of knife that I didn't have enough patience to, put enough hours in, basically. Speaking of putting enough hours in, something in a comment on one of my Facebook posts today just brought it to mind. I'm learning I have a new iPad and I'm learning how to use Procreate on it. So I'm posting little things that I'm doing as a way to learn because it's fun sharing the journey, right? And anyway, so someone very nicely said, you look like you're a natural. Because I said I was just learning and so on. And I said, it takes years of practice to look like a natural. Because I was thinking about the fact, while I'm not an expert in Procreate, I am a long-time digital artist. So and designer before that. So I have all those years underneath me to make it look like I'm a natural, even when I'm just doing very beginner Procreate.
You're going to take to something digitally more easily than someone else, right?
Than someone who doesn't have the same thousands of hours of digital under their belt. Yeah. But I thought it was a worthwhile thought to contemplate, not to say that there aren't instances of people being natural at something, but that it's like that whole idea of an overnight success, right? How many years did it take them to become an overnight success?
People who are overnight successes are rarely
that.
I would almost say never overnight successes, really. It's just that suddenly
child stars.
Yeah.
Right. It's not that they didn't put any time into it, but let's face it, they didn't put much time because they're still children.
Usually it is the result of lots of hard years in the trenches where no one noticed them. And then suddenly they have come to people's attention and from the fruit, and we're seeing the fruits of their labors.
Yeah, for sure. Cherie writes that she ordered 9 pre-cut mats for frames she has. Good idea, Cherie.
Yeah.
3 of them came from Etobicoke, 3 came from Hamilton, and 3 came from Brockville. No wonder shipping costs so much. Oh, boy. Yeah. Well, when they're coming from all these different store locations, presumably it's probably a chain store, instead of a centralized warehouse, that does make shipping complicated. We're doing a lot of curbside pickup these days. Have an order at Staples to pick up tomorrow.
That's right.
Because I need more binders. Got shelf on shelf of binders from all the teaching and businessy things. So now you're getting the blossoms ready, eh?
Yeah.
Maybe you want to give us a progress shot.
Yeah, I will do for sure. I just need one of these. Is that what that is? That's what that is. Okay. So I'll share in a minute. It's funny, you learn things as you go along, and I've kind of figured something out that's very useful. I've noticed, and that is, so I cut out the shape of this yellow tulip, just the yellow part, not the orange part. So, in fact, I cut one that was too big, and then I realized, okay, so then I cut out a smaller one. And I thought, okay, well, I want some of a slightly darker color to have some shadow areas, but where do they go? So I would hold it up like this and then cut out, sort of being able to see where the yellow one was cut out.
Make all your decisions.
And then I could cut the darker orange shapes out sort of based on where they were going to be. And so that's actually working really well. And I don't think I've figured that out before.
That's a really good tip, everybody.
Yeah. And so I did the same thing with the, I need a white background. Sorry. Give me a second there. So I had that one piece of light green, and then I looked at it and just sort of made some semi-arbitrary, based on what I know about light and shadow, on the leaves. And same thing, I cut those pieces out of the dark green,
holding up the light
while
green.
I was looking. It's not showing very well because I haven't got a light piece behind it there. While I was cutting through the hole in the green, so that I sort of knew where it was going to be approximately. So I'm pleased with that.
That is a great tip.
Yeah, I'm loving that, actually.
I'm filing that away. Cherie says, I ordered from Staples yesterday Pixma ink for my printer and photo paper.
Ah, yes.
Do you guys cut your own mats? Never learned that skill. We do.
We sometimes order mats, but we do have a proper mat cutter, and it will depend on how many, how urgent, and how tricky.
Yeah. Although Kal did once cut a mat for me that included 5 different sized windows.
Yeah. So Kim definitely pushes my buttons. No, I didn't say buttons. I said skill level limits. Exactly. So she had a show that had boxed in figures. Some of you guys may remember that. And she had 5 different small pieces that you wanted to crop just so. And she wanted to put them in one tall 6-inch wide by like 36-inch high frame. And they were all different, and she wanted them centered.
They were from different pads of paper.
Yeah, different pads of paper. Like this one's 4x6, this one's 5x5, this one's 4.5 by 4 by 6 3/4, etc. And like getting the even spacing, getting the arrangement the way she wanted it. She said, this one's at top, this one's at that. It's like. So that, and then she sold one of them and said, "Oh, okay, that mat is now useless now."
Kal did it perfectly.
Yeah, and I said, I was like,
well, and I ended up selling 2 of them.
Yeah,
I think
I was like, that needs to be sold as an entire thing, not individuals, because no one is going to cut you that mat again.
I know who no one is. Joy writes, that works so well about your technique.
I'm kind of pleased with that. So
you should be. Should be. I think that's worth a like. Anybody who thinks that's worth a like on this video, please give it a like.
That is, you are such a Kim.
I feel like a Midway Carney.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
Oh dear. I may just be slightly punch drunk. I don't know. I'm so fatigued these days. It's insane. So, well, thanks so much, those of you who have hit the like button. That's awfully nice of you. So while Cal's cutting those delicate shadows, I recently decided I really, really needed some stress relief. And the problem is most of my hobbies
are very
overuse well, they're productive, but they also, my eyes are tired. My hand and wrist and forearm is tired from all the work I do, both as an artist and as a teacher. And so I was trying to think, I need things that can give my eyes and hands a rest. So this past Friday, for the very first time, I attended a comedy improv workshop, which I gotta say, I decided I was going to do it, and then I became struck with terror. But I made it to it. I didn't back out.
You didn't bail on it.
No, I went, and at first I thought, oh man, I'm just going to watch this first one. I can't. There's no way I could do anything.
And Kal is like, yeah, you won't just watch.
And he was right. I didn't just watch. And I didn't completely humiliate myself.
You did not. You acquitted yourself exquisitely. I was.
Well, that's very sweet.
It was very funny. I was in our kitchen, which is behind here, and Kim was doing the improv here, and the camera was pointed more at her with that as the backdrop. And so, at some point, she said, "Kal, can I have a cola or something like that?" And so I poured her a cola, and my hand reached out from the closet.
Disembodied.
And they didn't know that they thought it was a closet. So they were like, "Where did that hand come from out of the closet?" It's like, but I also tell that just because I was in the kitchen while she was doing a bunch of the improv, and she was great. So.
Oh, you're too kind. It was really fun though, so I'm going to do it again. One of the founders of the organization
or the organization
or whatever collective attended UTS, University of Toronto Schools, which is the high school I went to. And that's how I first heard about it a few years ago, and just never was able to make any of their events, no matter how hard I tried. So it was nice to finally do it. Now Anne has put is that an applause? I think it might be an applause emoji. It's a different looking one than I'm used to. So thank you, Anne. And on Kal's behalf, too, because it may be about Kal's fabulous tip.
Whatever it's about, we're happy to have applause.
That's right. Anyway, it's nice to have a hobby that's not straining my tired eyes. Rebecca says, improv is fun. So you've done improv, Rebecca. Why am I not surprised? You're my twin, right?
I like the idea of improv. I think I would probably struggle with it, but I think
you'd struggle less than you think. I think that teaching has done a lot for us in terms of realizing what we can do in terms of thinking on our feet and speaking. So that's my observation anyway.
I'm sure that at least in part you are correct.
Well, and you know how in art, you like to create games for yourself to set your parameters.
I do know that.
So that's what they do in improv.
Yeah,
they
improv
create
is
games.
working within a game. So,
yeah.
So that I can understand. That might be a...
Wow, Rebecca's pretty hardcore. She was on the team in high school, improv team, and started a club in university, but hasn't done it in years. Well, I'm totally impressed, Rebecca. I've done it once. So I need years to catch up. Oh, I do want to mention that on, I think it's this Wednesday. Oh, I better look it up. Before I mention it, I should look it up, check my facts.
That's very wise, Kim.
It's just like me, though, to just blurt it out.
Something and then say, oh, wait, now I have to tell everyone on YouTube that is...
Yeah, I'll look it up and then I'll be able to...
Then you'll be able to actually speak with confidence.
Today is the 22nd, so I'm going to say that Friday must be the 26th then. Okay. I'll put it in the either probably the comments on this video afterwards. But this Friday, March 26th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, is the launch of this year's In Situ Multi-Arts Festival, which both Kal and I have been part of in the past. It's a biennial festival in Mississauga, but now it's gone virtual, surprise, surprise, but they've got an incredible team of people creating an interactive experiential website, and they're creating a launch event which offers a lot more that includes a virtual beer tasting. I have no idea how that works with Stonehooker Brewing Company, and tap room chats and the launch event. I'm sure it'll be very entertaining. I'm planning to be there.
And
I participated in it. It's called, the theme is The Lost Museum. And the Lost Museum is this magical time and space bending construct that houses a whole lot of collections of lost and forgotten and abandoned and discarded things. And there are curators of each special collection in the museum, and I am one of them for the library. I'm the librarian, and to start building the collection, I worked with Professor Noni Kaur at Humber College, the art students there, on creating altered book projects on the theme of lost, abandoned, discarded, and forgotten. And in fact, one of the things I hope to do maybe in the early summer or in the late spring is offer some kind of workshop in altered books to create projects to contribute to the museum, to appear on the website, but there will be a physical event next year. Anyway, so this is the launch event, but it's going to unfold more and more over the coming year is the idea. And they describe it as the website as an interactive virtual platform. celebrating art and performance. It is a multi-arts festival, so it's not just visual arts. There are many kinds, including purely digital forms of art, which is to say not just imagery. So I think it'll be really, and the launch event is the launch of this platform. So I'm really excited to see what comes of it. And if you go into the right part of this website, you will find me.
You had like a sort of an acting part.
I
it,
did.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, I'm playing the role of the librarian. So yes, I had a little acting to warm myself up before the comedy improv, I guess.
Well, that was a while ago now, so it wasn't just before the improv or anything.
No,
but it definitely.
Given that my main activities are other than those.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I got to catch up on the
I'm
comments.
I'm going to retract my knife.
Well done, dear.
Yes. Good on me.
Rebecca says it was a very small high school. Yeah,
with a famous, world famous improv team.
UTS was a small high school when I attended it. It's not anymore. Cherie asks, did anyone try the standing egg trick for the Vernal Equinox? Val honored it in her Vernal Equinox collage.
Oh.
I'm not even familiar with the standing egg trick, so I'm going to have to learn about this. Cherie, sounds worth trying, though. Whatever, maybe I shouldn't say that without knowing what it is, but.
And I'm not surprised. Val has done. How many collages have you done in this year, Val? It must be like in the hundreds, I would think, the way you've been cooking. So
I think that's so wonderful, though, because I remember her coming to one of our events this winter saying
you were stuck, right? Or not feeling but blah,
feeling dry,
you like pulled the cork out, and you've just been like pouring out, and it's been wonderful. So
wonderful to behold.
Kim, give her some applause, because I've got my hands full at the moment, but that's from both of us, Val.
Absolutely. Marion writes, I've just discarded the blade tip on my X-Acto knife. Wow, what a difference the new cutting edge is making. Yay, Marion. Yep. It really is. It's like a whole different cutting world, right?
Isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the crucial thing about whatever kind of knife you have. Just make sure you're working with something sharp. Val says, folklore says eggs stand on end during equinox.
Oh, wow.
How interesting.
I didn't know that sorry, I'm out of frame, guys. I didn't know there was a gravitational aspect to it. But
I really couldn't say. I'm not
well, I wasn't awake at 5:37 on Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't know how long. I don't know how long the window is.
I hadn't stayed up that late that night. Val says she's not even sure how many collages she's done.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
but we all know it's a lot, right? Yeah.
A teetering tower. Joy says, Marion, that must feel like cutting the first slice of a fresh loaf of bread. Yeah. Well, I remember watching a chef on television explain that when your kitchen knife was denting the tomato before it cut, that was a sign that your kitchen knife needed sharpening. It should just slice right through that tomato skin.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly analogous. Marion said, recutting tools. I know how key sharp knives are in the kitchen, but didn't equate it to art and collage.
It's funny how sometimes the stuff that makes sense to translate doesn't necessarily, because we kind of think, oh, that's knowledge there.
Yeah, we compartmentalize.
And that's knowledge there, but they don't. Exactly.
Yeah. Cutting becomes a superpower when your knife is sharp. Don't forget to retract it.
So I thought I'd just position these things and see what I thought. I'm not sure that the
excuse me,
values are quite working, but so these may
values aren't everything.
They aren't. It's true. They're not. They have uses.
You do. You got intensity going for you.
I definitely have intensity going for me.
I've always said that about you.
Watch out.
Yeah.
You're doing the badoom boom for
maybe it's that comedy improv I was doing.
I think so. I think so.
Watch out, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. He won't want to have me on his show anymore.
Oh, nonsense.
Jane writes, years ago when I worked at the World Trade Center in New York City, it was tradition to balance the egg in the concourse of the building. It really works. That's awesome, Jane. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's so cool
to know.
That is so cool.
Wow. So that's how you'd welcome spring at the late dear departed World Trade Center. Donna writes, how fun, Jane. When is your book coming out? Yeah, I bet there's a good book in there.
Yeah.
In your life, Jane, boy. And I, for one, would be delighted to read it.
Yes, me too.
You could rotate it all 4 ways and see. You might be surprised.
I might be. Just saying, right?
Just saying.
I am often surprised.
It's not just Botox then.
Yep. You can tell she's been doing improv.
Oh dear, I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody.
No, it's great.
Just can't help myself. It's good though.
Yeah.
Making myself laugh.
Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to laugh. Might as well be me.
That's right.
Rebecca said, it's nice to hear you having fun. Oh, that's so sweet, Rebecca. Thank you.
No, she's definitely cooking today. So
oh. That's good. Cherie writes, I had a habit of doing a double swipe across my artist apron with my paintbrush to get a dry brush effect. Without thinking, I cleared paper birds from my X-Acto with the same method. Bad idea. Yeah. Definitely not the best. Better to have something on the table that you're wiping the birds off with. Yeah. I can totally see how that it's just a reflex, right? If you're used to doing it.
Paper burrs or birds?
Burrs.
Right,
paper
right.
Burrs.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry if I didn't make that clear to you.
No, but because I often sometimes will have the thing I'm about to glue down balanced on the tip. So if I did that, I'd lose the piece, and I might also lose a little blood too.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Yeah, and one of the things, if you have a healthy paint buildup on your apron where you're doing it, hardened, dried paint, is you could dull the blade prematurely.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a small thing, but the blood's probably more important.
Yeah.
It just depends on your priorities, I guess. Joy writes, laughing is great, Kim. We need to do it more often. You're setting a good example once again. Aw, that's so sweet, Joy. I do think we need to laugh a lot more. Well, some people already laugh a lot, and I love to laugh and laugh pretty easily, but don't laugh enough on in my daily life.
Definitely need more of that.
Yeah. That's sort of interesting having that red one bridging the split.
I also really like this, but I don't know whether it makes sense. And I don't know.
Well, in what sense?
Well, I don't even know whether it needs to make sense, but
yeah. I mean, there are different kinds of sense, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. But it might steal the show too much from the flowers. It might not.
Donna writes, my kind of artist. I have indigo drips all over my yellow kitchen wall from a little too much absorption in what I was doing. Yay, Donna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with both you and Cherie on that. I've got painting pants and painting aprons that are quite self-supporting now, really.
I know I have scissors here somewhere. I have the feeling that we must be getting close to the end.
You are so right. It's actually 3:27.
The deadline clock in my head is ticking.
You're so intuitive about time in a way I've never been. Actually, I think I need to post. I'm just writing in the chat the name of the event I was describing.
Oh, the in situ one. Yeah, thank you.
The in situ event.
Yep.
And Kal is actually part of the event in that he has artwork in it.
I'd forgotten that.
A different collection than the one I'm curating. So we'll include a link to the event in the description when the collage jam is over.
That sounds like a good idea.
And we'll also be posting about it on social media, so you can also go to our give us a maybe tomorrow, or tonight or tomorrow. We'll have the links available in our social media. The nice thing is, unlike the in-person festival, you can attend it from anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. That's, there are downsides to everything, and there from this whole COVID thing, but there have been some upsides for sure, and that has definitely been one of the significant upsides.
Yeah.
Which is, it's good to have some upsides.
Yeah. Well, I have certainly enjoyed attending some art talks and events that I couldn't have attended otherwise. There was one in Germany, a couple in New York City. somewhere out west in Canada, maybe Calgary. Cal's doing his imitation of a book press.
Yeah. Kim has an actual book press, but I actually don't need that
but
much.
It's cast iron and it's not very nimble for just lifting up onto the table.
Yeah, and I don't need that kind of pressure or that kind of duration. So I'm going to go a few minutes late just because I
want to get those blossoms.
I want to get the flowers on.
Why don't you show anybody who needs to leave?
Yeah, so if you're
where you're at now.
So Blossomless, this is where it's at. I don't know if you can see that, but it's the dark is a night sky, and then I've got sort of a black and white image there. Just adjusted, and it's actually better now. Black and white image of the world. And I thought I needed something white at the bottom. I kept slipping just a rectangular piece in there, and I thought that kind of looks good, but it doesn't make sense to me. So I thought, I could just sort of allude to some sort of a vase or cup or something that the flowers might be in by putting an arc on it.
Or echo the planet.
And it also echoes the planet. Exactly. And so I thought, that's, given all of those things, it was... It made sense. So.
Nice decision. Donna, who says she has to go soon. Thanks so much. Have a good week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. I know. Jane says, I'm going to have to check out, but can we have a quick view of your collage now? It looks good upside down. So you've got that now, Jane.
Yeah. So
hopefully
that's
you caught it.
Yeah.
And in fact, she adds, very cool, Kal. Nice work. Definitely like the white at the bottom.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. Have a nice few weeks off.
Take care, Jane.
Thanks so much, Jane.
We'll see you back on at Kim's event on April 12th, and the next Collage Jam is on 19th. And I have put all of the spring Collage Jam dates on my Collage Jam page on my website. So if you want to look and mark your calendars, you can do that. I've also put Kim's events as well.
And I will update my virtual studio party page on my website soon to include both of our dates.
Yeah, but if you need them all right away, definitely on my page. Yeah.
Which is calhoney.ca.
That's right.
And Anne says, well, thank you for all the upsides today. Just love what Kal has done. Until next time.
Thank you so much for coming by, Anne. It's been a pleasure having you.
Joy says, thanks, Kal and Kim. See you soon. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you so much. And please remember to post your collages on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
I've been remiss. I've been swamped with things, so I haven't had much chance to look, but I am going to in the next several days, and looking forward to seeing all the I did take a quick look last week and was amazed at how many things there were there. So I'm looking forward to having a good catch up with it now that I'm have a little less on my plate teaching wise. So so please post away and I'll see you there.
Yeah. Did I say Joy says thanks and see you soon?
You did. Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Marion says, I love your piece, Kal. I need to leave too. Love the pops of color you're adding. Thanks so much for a great afternoon. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, it's been
that's nice.
Been a lot of fun.
View of it.
Yeah.
Rebecca says, thanks so much. Have a great break. Kirk says hi.
Great say hi to Kirk from us. Absolutely. And thanks so much again, Rebecca, for being such a trooper, being here week in, week out.
Yeah, wow.
And keeping our gardener's corner, botanist's corner.
Yeah. We've got lots of regulars and semi-regulars, and it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Annie says, thank you both. Love that collage,
Kal.
Thanks,
Annie.
Thank you, Annie.
Thanks for coming
Take
by,
care.
and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Val says, thanks. Great as always.
Oh, thanks, Val.
Thanks, Val. Judy says, thanks again, Kal and Kim. Have a nice break. See you in April.
Yes, we're looking forward to a little break and then being back with you. I'm also
being refreshed will be lovely.
And I have been teaching on Monday mornings, and next term I'm not. So I'm looking forward to having just a little more time to prepare and a little more time to sort of be hit the Collage Jam fresh.
Yeah.
Which will be lovely. So, and be a little more engaged with it. I've tried, but I've been a bit jammed. So
yes, yeah. Your schedule has been nutty.
Yeah, I had a lot of teaching commitments this past term. So yeah.
Cherie writes, your image reminds me to bloom where you're planted.
Yes.
That's lovely, Cherie.
I love that. I first encountered that from Mary Engelbright as a quote. She had done an illustration using that quote, and I love that quote because it's both slap you upside the head to put you in line, but it also is encouraging, right? Yeah, wise, exactly, right? Because
Cherie's put all the dates in the calendar.
Great, Cherie.
Yeah, you're so organized.
Yeah.
Judy writes, beautiful collage.
Oh, thank you. All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap it, and we will see you in April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Get vaccinated if you can, and we'll
enjoy that spring out there.
Yeah, enjoy that spring. I'm seeing buds out there. So yeah. All right. Take care.
Really lovely comment.